Hi there, I'm Rafiat. Welcome to the next in my series of Walk With Me videos where I share little nuggets of my life story and how God helped me in reaching decisions and making moves, and in the hope that this will help you in one little way on your own life's journey. So today I wanted to talk about how to make the right decisions. We're all generally faced with making decisions in our lives. Some of them are easy and relatively straightforward. What do we have for food? What's healthy? What's not? Where do I go? What do I wear? Who do I associate with? But some of them are pretty life and death. So the decision is usually quite clear. Those are relatively easy to do. The ones that are challenging are the ones that it's not so clear, and there are also consequences to those decisions. And those may be personal decisions, and the consequences may affect our family, or it may be business decisions, and the consequences will affect our organization or the people we employ in our organization, and therefore their families. Sometimes it's just a personal thing in terms of who you're working with, who you're not working with. So what I'm going to hope to do is share a story in my life about a decision that I needed to make and how I sort of worked through that, and hopefully extract a few points for you to maybe ponder about and use in your next decision making. So this was a decision I had to make many years ago after I had graduated and was practicing in medicine. So when I first finished, I gathered experience in sort of general practice of medicine in Nigeria. And then I decided that it was time for me to step into specialist training in obstetrics and gynecology. Unfortunately, that was around the time that most of our trainers, the ones that we knew had been trained out of the country, had vast experience in lots of things. That was around the time there was a brain drain from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia because they could get more income. And fair enough, that was a right decision for them. But for me, that put me in a dilemma. I always want to do things excellently. I always want to know that I am trained, skilled, and equipped to deliver what I say I want to deliver. And especially when it involves people's lives, I was very particular that I wanted to have the best training that I could that was affordable for me. And I knew that with the brain drain, that was not what was going to be happening. So here comes the first bit. What was the decision? The decision was, do I stay in Nigeria and take whatever training is on offer, or do I move locations somewhere else? So getting clarity about what the actual decision is very important. Then the next thing was why. Why was it important for me? Why do I need to change? Why can't I just roll with whatever there is? And that takes us to what I call your sense check, your internal check. So look at your values. My values are integrity. My values are, and for me, integrity is showing up excellently, giving the best service, honoring people. And also my priority was to be able to help as many people in the best way, giving the best service. And always wanted to be well. My personal development was always been important to me. I need to know the right way to do things and the best way to do things. And then I can adapt to whatever is the circumstance or situation I am in. And the fact that there was a possibility of being trained for many years, and then the trainers come back and then cast a shadow on the level and the quality of training I would have had was unacceptable for me. So those are one of the things for me. They're just my boundaries, not acceptable. I will not want anybody to be in a position to say that I'm half-baked. And my goals were really to be more. So settling for second best was really not an option for me. So once I got clarity about that, I realized that the decision will be to move somewhere else. And so then comes the next step in decision making, which is counting the cost. So I had to sit down and think, what will that move involve? What will the finances that be involved? How will this affect my relationships? Who will it affect? What are the pros and cons of this decision? What's the impact? And for me, yeah, there were financial issues. There were even issues of, well, where do I move to? What's going to happen to me there? And I was at that time in a relationship with my husband, though we weren't married yet. And so I realized that that move could potentially involve me leaving the country for months and our separation. And I had to really give that good consideration. But I realized that it was something I needed to explore and have further conversations about. So having had that thought process and having a bit of clarity as to what I needed to gather information around, I then also had a spiritual check. And that was, did I have peace about leaving my country, my family, and going to a strange land to start afresh? Did I feel grounded enough within myself to be able to do that? And was I confident in making that decision and carried it through? And for me, the answers for most of those were yes. So I could then come to a place where I made an informed decision about should I leave the country or not. But making that decision is not just the end of it. Then there is the what next. So like I said, there were knowledge gaps. I needed to do some research. What was it going to involve? Where would I go to? What were the criteria? What was needed? I also needed to explore how am I going to support myself, the finances. I had conversations with my husband and the family, or my husband-to-be and my family, and sort of bounced my thoughts and desires against them. So they were my trusted advisors. And of course, I prayed about it. For me, no decision comes without any prayers. In fact, I'd prayed about it before I started having the thought processes. And for me, I really understood that there were some things that were out of my power and I needed to trust, but also needed to trust in myself. And it was after doing all of those that I was able to make the right decision for me in terms of leaving the country and emigrating to another country. And I will give a word of caution when you're talking to people, the trusted friends. Be aware that there will be some who will try to protect you. So I had friends say, oh, well, are you sure that's a good idea, leaving the country? I mean, you're going to leave your boyfriend and you never know what's going to happen. I mean, it could break your relationship. And I suppose that is a consideration. But also, I could confidently say it wasn't going to break our relationship because I had confidence in the strength of our relationship. And then once I had reached the decision that that was what I wanted to do, then I took action. I moved things in small little baby steps. And that's how I ended up coming to the United Kingdom. And I must say, I'm currently no longer in the medical profession, which is always the interesting thing. And you could say, well, was that really a right decision for you? Absolutely. Absolutely. It was the right decision for me at the time for my journey in life. Understand that life's journey is not static, it's always evolving. And it's not about a destination, it's actually about the journey. So yes, I came to the UK. Yes, I worked my way up to being a consultant. And then I have made another decision to set sideways. And even in that decision of leaving medicine, it was the same thought process that I used. So, what is that decision you need to make? Is it about leaving a job? Is it about expanding your organization? Is it about collaborating with another organization? Is it about the employee that you see is persistently not up to mark? Is it about having that conversation with that person? Whatever that decision is that you need to make, the best decisions are the ones that are values-based. And that may be your personal values or the values of the organization. It should also align with your priorities. And when you start with those two, you're starting with from a place of being congruent with yourself and being in harmony with yourself. And that's when you then sit down to decide, what is the decision that needs to be made? Why is the decision? Why do you need to make that decision? Does it fit with your values, your priorities, your goals, your purpose? Have you counted the costs, the pros, the cons, who's going to be affected, the impact? Have you had a spiritual check? Are you at peace with this? Are you confident about it? Do you feel grounded in that decision? And then make the informed decision, and then explore and get as much information as you need to confirm that the path is right for you. And once you've reached the decision, take action. And that action may be, actually, no, not for now. That's perfectly fine. What is not fine is not reaching a decision. Not reaching a decision is actually a decision in itself to drift. Drifting is not what you want to do. Okay. I hope that has been helpful. I hope it's jogged a bit of thought in you. I hope you'll be able to take something from that to use in the next decision that you need to make. So, until we see the next video, I wish you well.